my great friend and colleague, Bret Baier, anchor of Special Report Tonight, author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, available everywhere today. Got to sell some books. Bret Baier got me through the pre-debate 15-person thing with style and content, as you always do. Bret, welcome to the set, as always, sir. You know, you can't help Israel without slamming Iran and changing the policy. That's my take. What you think?
Yeah, I think it's right on. A strong letter to follow, Larry. You know, I think you nailed it as far as the criticism. And, you know, they are hung up, the Biden administration is, on the criticism about the $6 billion for the American hostage exchange. But it's not the $6 billion. You know, they say not a penny, not a dinar has been removed from that account. It's not about that. It's what you just talked about. It's about the relaxing of sanctions to the point of, you look at oil exports just to China, 2020, 6.6 billion, 2021, 23.1 billion.
Wow. 2022,
$30 billion.
Wow.
Iran exports to China.
Those are great numbers. I gotta get my paws on those numbers.
But I mean, that is what you're talking about. It's not this whole thing about the hostage. I mean, that's a factor, and Iran has to factor. I've got $6 billion coming in. I can do something else with something else. But it's really what you're talking about here. And the fact that the president didn't mention Iran tells you all that you need to know, is that they are defending this Iran policy, which really funnels money to Hamas and Hezbollah.
I mean, I see it as, you know, Iran is the supply line to Hamas. Now, there would have been no major invasion were it not for Iran. And I don't understand. You talked to Kirby this morning about this. We're hearing from Jake Sullivan. I do not understand how you can be Israel's friend and really help Israel, as the majority of American thinking wants to help Israel, our great ally, the only democracy in the entire region. You can't do that unless you go after Iran. I don't mean bomb Iran, but you have economic sanctions, oil sanctions, business sanctions. I mean, I got to give credit. Mitch McConnell wrote a very good, tough article today in the Wall Street Journal. Don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did.
A couple paragraphs on what we should be doing to restore sanctions. Where are the sanctions? Why won't the Bidens do that, Bret Baier?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they defend it, saying the sanctions are still there, but they're just not enforcing them. So that's, you know, you can have them there, but they're not enforcing them. So I think it's a big, big issue. Also, you know, I obviously just talked to the Saudi Crown Prince over in Saudi Arabia, and they said they were close to normalization. Then I talked to the Israeli Prime Minister. He said they were really close. Off camera, both men said it's going to get done. And I think the closer they talked about it, the more Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah wanted to screw it up.
Do you think those talks continue?
They do. I'm told.
Saudis won't start shifting and going back to...
They put out a statement that was very kind of pro-Palestinian at the beginning, as kind of a, I'm told, you know, how they usually say the Palestinians need to be helped. But now it's evolved into they're really concerned about civilian casualties. And you can't turn your back on the depravity of some of these attacks. You talked about it. I mean, it's just gruesome what we're seeing.
Bret, a wee bit of politics. You really need a new House Speaker to provide the money to help Israel. What you think about that story? We have Kevin McCarthy's coming on in just a few moments. What do you think about this story?
Well, I think he's still in the mix. I think he can either, you know, be the default choice or be the kingmaker for probably Jim Jordan. It's I think you're going to have a speaker vote that coalesces because of the urgency of the moment over in the Middle East. And people see that as a big moment. You could even have problem solver Democrats say, I'm going to throw my vote one way to try to move this thing quicker. Because I think everybody realizes that you need to do stuff as a Congress in order to have that happen. You have to have a House Speaker. And
one other question. I want to get to the Constitution in a minute. I love selling books.
Thank you, Larry.
Your books have been great sellers down through the years, and you were great on the radio show this weekend. But the southern border is still a gigantic problem. And we can talk about terrorism in the Middle East and so forth and so on, but a lot of that stuff's creeping through the southern border. Now, Kevin McCarthy gave a speech about that, but I wonder what you were thinking. I do not hear the Bidens ever talk about the southern border.
No. And today, Bill Malugin along that border got a document that shows where people are coming from that are coming across that border. Mm-hmm. Thousands and thousands from countries we consider fomenting terrorism, different ones, Afghanistan, all throughout the Middle East. And they are getting across that border, and the numbers are just going exponentially up. So the threat there and the terrorist watch list, the people who have been on the terrorist watch list, has increased in recent months. So that's a major threat. And McCarthy's right to talk about that.
Yeah, he is. Meanwhile, to rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, out today. I read the intro, haven't read the book yet. I will go plow through the book because I love history. George Washington was almost, if it's possible, he was an underrated figure. I know he's the father of the country, but regarding this, constitutionalists, you don't think of George Washington. You think of Hamilton, Madison, some of the others, but not necessarily Washington.
Yeah, so these books, this is the 5th presidential book that I've written, and I try to look at a soda straw moment and then focus on that in a narrative form and show how this leader gets to that moment. The soda straw moment is the Constitutional Convention, and Washington is essentially recruited again to be the head of this convention, keep people together. A lot of people don't remember or don't know that after the U.S., the forces win against the British, then the country falls apart. And there are a lot of people that say they want to go back to British rule. It would be easier. The Constitutional Convention happens, George Washington holds people together, and then obviously he becomes the first president. Nobody was writing a note in the Oval Office desk for him. Nobody was passing the torch. He was the torch. And this really fills in the blanks for people who like history. And I think, I think it's important to look backwards.
What would we have done without Washington? Honestly.
It wouldn't be a country.
History revolves, you hate to say it, but history sometimes revolves around great men.
That's right.
It's an old theory in history, but it's an important theory.
We have a lot to learn from that time. We really do, because we could use a Washington right now.
I know. I've been around a long time, but I missed the Washington era. I just missed the Washington era. I came back. Promise me if I do another 15-guest program, you'll be
I'll be
lead
there.
again.
You did fantastic. Hitting breaks and everything.
Bret Baier, everybody. Special report weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. You can pick up his new book, To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, on shelves today. One click. Thank you, Bret. We appreciate it.